Yeah, what up, YouTube? It's your boy Zai. You already know what time it is, man. Shout out to Polluted Co. Hopefully, I get at you again so you can make me another shirt. But anyways, man, the last time I did a video, for the most part, there was a lot of cats that understood where I was going with it. And then, you had some cats that, common sense eludes them on the daily. And the more the ones that spoke against it, with no real explanation on why they were speaking against it. And it's understandable. This is YouTube. You deal with a lot of trolls and people that, like I said, lack the basic common sense. And the whole video was the fact that it was talking about how people really don't fear a lot of things because things have not been addressed and they continue not to be addressed. So the pull and the fear that people once had on consequences of their own people, they no longer have. You see it on the streets right now with cats being disrespectful towards their OGs, and even the ones that had OGs that were just righteous and just really try to point them in the right direction, they're still disrespectful towards them. And a lot of it is cowardice because there's a lot of cats that will never fight. They don't know how to fight. They will never know how to fight, and their first instinct is to grab the gun, and they'll come with the same dragged out excuse that nobody's fighting anymore. No, actually there is cats on the street that will fight you, and even if they don't beat you, then give you a good run for your money, because that's been instilled in a lot of us that are from older times, as far as like the 70s, the 80s, and the early 90s. A lot of us still will fight. Now here's the thing that people don't understand. Back in those days, people actually relished the fact of getting out there and boxing. Everything was about showing what you can do. I remember cats from Pacoima, like the Project Boys in the Flats. A lot of them dudes were fucking kickboxers and boxers. So anytime fools went up against them, a lot of them were gonna take L. It's like, even like back in the days with a lot of dudes from San Fernando, like a lot of them dudes, like the older cats, they could box. So if you got out there and you play with it, you were getting put on your backside, if not knocked out. Now I seen a video today where it was some dudes fighting, and the first thing they did, I mean, they ran the dude's pockets, but they pulled this dude's pants down and tried to kick him in his butt crack, and just like all that little cake stuff that goes on nowadays, like that. Sometimes you just gotta make shit make sense. Now the video I put out yesterday was just to point out the fact that the fear that people once had for not just organizations but street rules in general, they no longer fear it because there's no real consequence, and that's been proven throughout the time. And that's why a lot of these cats, not just young but even older cats that have seen it, don't even respect certain things because they feel as if they're either tired, they're either how should I say, rules that are no longer worthy of even protecting. And then some of them just feel like it's not their problem. It's like you can get no real brownie points or anything off of it. It's like you go to try to do something, you end up getting blown down by some dude that just simply scared to fight. He don't want to take you see it all the time. A dude to be a one-on-one, dude to get punched, and because he can't take an answer, he picks up that gun and shoots this dude in the head. Then in turn, he goes to jail for the rest of his life, and now becomes somebody that's getting his butt taken, because now that he's went in there and ran into fools that were friends with him. You see it all the time. That's why I say with that video, people don't fear it no more. There's no real accountability. I remember back in the days, like, you had OGs, like if you did something, you got out of pocket that warrants you getting DP, you got DP'd. And you just had to deal with it. It wasn't like you come back and shoot him, because then your neighborhood is going to, take you out, because, you need to respect certain pecking orders. But now it's not even a young man's game. It's a coward's game now, because cats don't even fight no more. They just, the first thing they do is pick up. You got cats that will outpower him and still shoot him. It ain't because they're crazy, because a lot of these cats end up going to jail and telling on people anyway, because they're, in the moment they felt that sense in the elation, because anybody that's ever pulled the trigger know, like, that sense of like, yeah, I could do that. But then when you face the consequences of your action, which a lot of these cats, when they do fold, is because there's no real consequences. You know, people always like to make the excuse, oh, old heads and old heads is, you think a certain way. But it's a reason why we've been living so long, and it's a reason why a lot of us were able to maintain, because we thought with a certain mindset. Now it's just reckless. Like today, I had a little interaction with some dude, you know what I mean? And he was a Crip. And it was just like basically a standoff on who was, you know, if there was an issue or not. And you see, I'm in the gym working out. He's going to work out, but somehow we had a miscommunication and it almost turned into something that didn't need to happen. But you see what I'm saying? And to be honest, that wasn't even settled. It was just one of those like, you know, if you ain't pressing, whatever, and going about the way. But see, there was real consequences to people's action, and they feared doing certain things out of angering, you know, those who came before them. But now it's like I said, you know, there's no accountability, because back in the days, that dude would have never said what he said or did. Who remembers the ones from the Valley, like back in the Grant days, Grant High or Grant Junior High, when, you know, I have a lot of Armenian friends, but, well, I had a lot of Armenian friends, I haven't seen them in years, but these cats used to always fight, you know, with Raza. And so them, you have Vatos from like surrounding Vargas that will go up there, get out, and be boxing with it. Not just that, because it was like one of those things like to set an example. Like, you're not gonna come here in a predominant Mexican Vargas and do the things you do without there being consequence. And there was some fools, you know, you had Armenian dudes that could fight, so they were laying fools on their butt, but some of them got laid on their butt, and some of them ended up getting shot. And it was just like a big, you know, you got homies right now that are in Amigas that are busted for crimes like that against, like, you know what I mean, because an example had to be made. Now, when I said like all this calling to arms, it wasn't about that. It was just pointing out the fact that people no longer fear a lot of stuff. They don't fear the street gangs. They don't fear nothing really. Like, it's one of those things, like, before when you would say it, it's kind of like held a little weight, but now it's just like, okay, yeah, it's just an essay, you know, like, they don't really trip on it unless you just one of those dudes, you know, that's really out there pressing. And we do got, you know, some that's like that. Like, anyways, this video was just to address that, you know what I mean, for the people that talk out their, you know, their ass. Like, understand, things are the way they are because things don't get handled. And if they are handled, they're handling the wrong way. It's no real glesha to it. It's no real, you know, schooling. It's just, you fucked up, you dead, or you did this, and then, you know, you, before, you know, you could get out there and fight like one or two of your homeboys, and then you were good. Now it's like, okay, you fight three, four of your homeboys, jump in, and it's like, instead of picking you up, they want to stomp on your head. Some homies want to try to stab you, and it's on the street. So, you know, a lot of people lost respect for the way of thinking, and now that's the going sentiment of these cats blaming all their older homies. But like I said, if it wasn't for your older homies, a lot of Vargas would not be established, or you would be taken advantage of. A lot of you fools just don't think. But anyways, man, that's just to address my trolls. Understand, man, it's just real. There's no real consequence to anything, and that's why people feel they can do what they do. And until that changes, you're gonna have a gang of fools like that dude that said this ain't no Mexican hangout running their mouth, because they know at the end of the day it's gonna be like them dudes that want to shake hands with him and be like, oh yeah, it's good, nothing happened. That's gonna continue to happen, and it's gonna get worse. So you see with all the eloteros and all that stuff that was happening, because ain't no real consequences, you know. And that's pretty much it. I'm your boy Zod. I got to get to work. But you enjoy the rest of your night. And for the people that really been paying attention to my channel and been supporting, man, hey, you know, gracias. And hopefully you keep watching. And yeah, I'm for Solid Park. But to my haters, man, I'm going to keep knocking you off the channel. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much it. With that being said, I'm out.